Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, the only Pocatello podcast focused on providing profits for Pocatello people. If you love our town and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around great guy, and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, Pocatello people, Chubbuck people. Another episode of Pocatello Business Podcast is right here, right now. We are with Ben Newbold, branch manager at Ideacom here in Pocatello, and I think you cover into Blackfoot as well for your area.
Yep, we cover pretty much. I'm in charge of anything south of Blackfoot. So
sweet. Okay. Ben, he's been with Ideacom now for over 2 years. He is not from Pocatello. We're not going to hold this against him. He is unfortunately from Blackfoot.
very, very long commute. I'm total foreign.
And so, that's neither here nor there, but we'll keep him going on the show anyways. Not just kidding. Anyone from Blackfoot, don't come hunt me down. I love you. Don't worry about it. He's had some experience. He's been in the auto business. He actually even worked for the Phil Meter family at one point. Had some experience there. Had some experience in the staffing world. This guy is well versed in what he's doing, and now he is branch managing the Ideacom here, and we're going to get into what he does and what he helps people with and companies with. But Ben, enough from me. Tell everyone hi and tell us about yourself.
Well, my name's Ben Newbold. I am from Blackfoot. Decided to come up here to Pocatello for ISU like most people do. So I do handle everything south from Blackfoot. It's kind of my region. So we do have some clients as far as Twin Falls and Burley and down in Soda Springs and, clear down to Bear Lake if necessary. So with the IT world, I can set things up so I can log in and fix your stuff remotely, or at least my team can. So we do, well, what was the other thing that you were telling about?
Which part? My introduction?
Yeah.
Stellar introduction?
Oh, my history. So,
yes.
Yep, I did. I kind of cut my teeth on the car industry. I had the gift to talk to people, and somebody talked me into talking to people professionally. And so gone from branch manager to regional IT manager for Ideacom. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's good. Not all of us are good at talking with people. I'm not even convinced I've learned how to read. I think I just memorize a lot of words. So, you're better off than I am. So tell us a little bit about your family, your pets, your hobbies. Let's get it started right from there.
Oh yeah. So I got married about 2 years ago to Jessica from, Jessica Hardman, that's from Smithfield. So kept it local too. So she brought 2 little girls and I have a son. And so we settled down over here in Chubbuck, clear out in the boondocks, kind of like it outside. We got 2 dogs and 2 cats because when you get a house, you need to add animals to it. I spent too much time saying, we can't get more animals until we have a house. Can't get more animals till we have a house. Well, they remember, and when you get a house, you get more animals. So there's 4 of them, which almost numbers many people in the house. So that's kind of hobbies. We are very much into camping. We 7-8 times a year we go out, and favorite parts are Logan Canyon and that kind of area, down with her family, and looking to invest in some RVs and some other ways. But right now we're just kind of backpacking and roughing it, I guess, the old school way. So, but that's pretty much all that we do. We camp, or we roast some s'mores in the backyard to tide us over until the next time we can kind of go outdoors. So
Hey, that's perfect. You put those kids into a sugar coma and let them run around for about a couple
send them to bed.
miles in the campsite, and then they just crash in the sleeping bag. So perfect. All right, Ben, what is Ideacom? Tell us about the services you guys offer and what makes you guys different.
So we have been a phone company since the 80s. 83 is when it was started by Mr. Krupp, who had the business until about 10, 12 years ago. He sold it to his two sons, Jeremy and Kurt, and they've kind of just kept it going. About the year 2000, we started looking into more internet-based phones and how everything was working, and over the years, we've become more of an IT company. Phone systems and communications are almost all online now. So if you have any sort of device, it's your communications almost certainly being done not on the old school copper lines like they've done in the past. So we now do networking, we do security for several banks, and just kind of make sure that people's stuff work. IT is one of those things that if you're not thinking about it, that's when it's working. If you don't have to worry about pushing the button and making sure that the button actually works, and you're not thinking about your IT company, you have a good IT company.
Nice.
Our goal is to make it so that you forget that you need us.
That's perfect. I like it. So before everyone starts thinking, all this VoIP phone call stuff, who needs that? Well, you're all going to need it, because here in about 2023, they're going to stop maintaining those copper lines, and you're going to be either back to a transitioner radio, or you're going to get with the times.
Yep. So in the next couple of years, CenturyLink's not going to have to maintain the lines, and everything's going to be going to VoIP. As is right now, your copper lines connect to a hub at the end of your street, and that turns to VoIP there. So you've been on VoIP for several years in several different ways, but now it's kind of necessary. You have to be on VoIP in the next few years, and we're the ones that have perfected it and know how to make sure that all your calls actually get connected and sound clear. No more, hey, can you hear me now? Nice.
Okay, so are there a lot of situations with companies, and I don't want to have any IT guys that are employed by these companies coming and knocking down my door and hating on me, but I want to say this: are there opportunities where companies are and maybe they're a growing company, they're trying to get bigger, and they're not quite ready to afford a full-time IT guy? Is this where you guys come in and really shine, because they're just paying you here and there to get things set up, and then paying for your continued service, and then they're not paying a full-time IT guy on staff and affecting their overhead?
So we have several different, levels that we work at. We work at, the 1 and 2 employee, 3 employee companies. We can set you up with some phones and connect your stuff and walk away. And it's relatively inexpensive for those that are just starting out and pinching pennies, because they're putting it all back into their business. So for relatively cheap cost, we can get you set up right. It's things like firewalls and data backup that you need to have in order to stay going past that 3, 5, 7 year mark that's really the hump for a starting company. Then when you start getting going and you have that 10, 15 employees not quite ready to get a full-time IT guy, we can connect all your stuff and either do it on a similar situation where we get you set up and get your stuff connected correctly, the same security and stuff that you need, not the extra stuff that you don't need. We can do that. And then as you need somebody, we can step in and fix stuff as you need us to. But we also do a lot of things for several large companies, ones that have IT companies. We step back and we do a more hands-off approach. Things like large companies that need software. Do you have a remote management program that updates all your computers, keeps track of everything that's going on? It has a good antivirus, gives you the ability to remote in and fix things or manage your 20, 30, 40 devices or 500 or 600 devices. How is it that your select group of IT professionals handles your entire network? They have to walk up to the computer and click on something. We can provide the software that they need or hardware that they need. It kind of depends on the level that the client needs us to be, and that's part of our I guess IT evaluation that we do. We do a lot of those for free for people that, hey, I don't know what I need. I'm maybe paying X amount of dollars for these services. I can look at your bill. I can look at what you have, what you actually need, and say, yes, you do need that service. No, you don't need that other one. Maybe you're paying too much for a service. IT has kind of become the new used car sales. Nobody knows what you should be paying for what. And unfortunately, some providers do take advantage of that. And so having another non-biased set of eyes that can say, yeah, that's not something that Ideacom provides, but that's not the industry standard for what you should be charged. And we're okay with that and just helping people out. So it's a lot of what I do, actually.
Perfect. So you're saying you cover from, you got Mr. Pete over there in accounting trying to save all the Somalian princesses, to Carol over here, and I'm just picking names out of the air here. Over there in accounts receivable, clicking on everything that twinkles and shines. Pocatello Business Podcast is sponsored by Dell's Outdoor Advertising, locally owned and operated for the past 60 years. Did you know that nationally, outdoor advertising reaches more consumers per day than all other media? Billboards work 24/7, bringing your message to customers around the clock. 70% of commuters remember messages they read on billboards, and 32% made a buying decision within 1 week based on billboard messages. If you'd like to get a hold of them, get your advertising going with Dell's Inc., then call 208-232-6886 and ask for Rob. Again, it's 208-232-6886. Ask for Rob. So you can handle the most severe stuff and also the most smaller level threats when it comes to security.
We, when it comes to security, we get the call pretty regularly. Hey, our system has had issues. Can you step in and fix it? And sometimes if we haven't been in there before, we can still fix things. Sometimes we just repair what we can and get them set up. So next time, if something does happen, if the Somali princesses come in and take over your network, we can set it up so it doesn't matter, that it won't slow your business down a bit to have somebody try to take it over and attack you.
Beautiful. I know one big thing right now is this ransomware. I think that's a hot point on people's radar. And that's probably everyone's worst nightmare, thinking, oh my goodness. Number one, I probably don't have enough in the coffers to be able to pay the ransom they want to get all my data back. And number two, I can't afford to have my data out there like that.
Oh yeah. There's several businesses that have gone out of business here in Southeast Idaho, in Pocatello specifically, due to ransomware. There's businesses who have paid the ransom and not gotten their data back. And there's several businesses that have been hit and they never even slowed down because they had the right precautions in place. And they're relatively inexpensive, something that you probably wouldn't even notice you're paying. But if you need it, it can be the difference between your business going under and, hey, I had a slow afternoon while everything was brought back up because I had an IT company that prepared me for it.
Nice. Now, do you believe in companies creating redundancies in their data? Like, okay, I've got it backed up on my desktop, I'm good.
Yeah, well, with internet speeds and computers, everything's taken off through the roof. Everybody's got a new number, I got a 4 bajillion megahertz, whatever, that I'm going to sell you. And all of that is not necessarily needed, but having a little something that is become super cheap to employ, something as data backup that's in the cloud or maybe even located at another office that you control or backed up to another place that's not even your location is relatively inexpensive and can save you in a lot of different situations. It is one of the core key components to having a good security infrastructure. And if something bad happens, having a plan B, it's pretty quick and easy to implement and get you back up and running without costing you anything, versus losing tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in data and clients.
Yep. What's the most common mistakes you see these a rapidly growing company that makes?
The biggest mistakes are not having data backup and not having any firewall. If you have a modem from your generic internet provider, that is not a firewall. That is the most easiest thing to bypass because it's the most common. And so people have learned how to bypass those little black modems without even missing a step. So having a firewall is literally a couple $100, and data backup can be, depending on the size, less than you spend on a hamburger in a month. So there's no reason not to. And
I don't know if you know how many hamburgers I buy in a month, though.
Sorry, one really good hamburger, and you're about that. Not necessarily all the hamburgers. Don't want to put you on an unneeded diet. So, but just taking the steps, having somebody take a look at it, having a professional. I know a lot of nieces and nephews are good at IT, and having them connect some things is a very cheap and expensive way of getting your business up and running. But I'm willing to give you a bird's eye view from a very professional point of view that can say, yes, you're good here. Maybe spend a few bucks on this, maybe spend a few bucks on that, and it'll last you for the next 2 or 3 years where I can come back and do another one. Building that relationship is more important than trying to, empty your coffers. I am just trying to make it so that you make it to that 10, 15, 20-year mark where you are making a lot of money. And I've been your trusted IT guy the whole time.
That's exactly what people need to hear. That's the thing. I'm a big believer in spending money right the first time.
Yep.
Instead of trying to do the cheapest option and then costing me from a lesson that I learned from getting my face rubbed in the dirt.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, guys, and you're have any doubts about your security or your phone capabilities, you got to talk to this guy right here. So Ben, as we're concluding and getting, time passes so fast now on these podcasts. So as we're getting to the end of our podcast with you, what piece of advice would you give, other than what you've already given, to those that are looking to start a company out there? That what's your common piece of advice you'd give?
My common piece of advice is make sure your data is at a second location, not just wherever you're storing it, and have somebody that knows what they're doing take a look. Most IT companies will do a free look. Most of them will try to sell you something on top of it. Just have somebody that you know and trust take a look at what you have, and make sure that those little inexpensive loopholes and access points to your entire livelihood are covered. Like I said, a few bucks can save you tens of thousands of dollars, and it's just knowing where those little spots are to spend it.
Good call, Ben. Ben, it's a common theme in our podcast that we ask where your favorite restaurant is locally, not Blackfoot, even though Blackfoot's cool, but we're talking about Pocatello right now. But now I want to expand it into, give me a restaurant and give me one of your favorite just business to frequent and to do business with in Pocatello.
That's a tough one. So
I know there's many, but just pick one or two.
My favorite since I bought a new home, the last 6 months, Lowe's has been my saving grace. I spent so much money there. But my favorite restaurant is still Abracadabra's. They have some, probably one of the best, if not the best hamburger I've ever had. And it's the only downside is that everybody goes there and there's always really busy. So if you can spend some money that direction to make sure that they are staying afloat during these interesting times,
That's right.
I would appreciate it too.
Perfect. Okay, Ben. Well, I appreciate you being on the show with us today. I know I got a lot out of it, and I know our listeners will guarantee will get a bunch out of it. So for those who are listening or will listen later in the future, and they want to take the next step and say, hey, Ben, give me some help. How do they get a hold of you? And if they do, and they mention Pocatello Business Podcast, is there a free cookie that comes along with it, or what can you do for them? How do they get a hold of you?
So what we're going to do for the listeners is, like I said, we do a free IT evaluation, but we're going to expand that. We're going to do either a system evaluation, taking a look at your system. We have devices that I can plug into your network and test the whole system and see how it's running and whether or not you have bottlenecks or vulnerabilities. I can do a free bill evaluation. So if you want to get me all your IT spending, and I'll say, go look at the industry standards, and we do have partners that help out with a lot of services. And I'm willing to still do the network and the IT evaluation. So things like firewalls and data backup and those kinds of things, of course. So you can get me on my work number. It's 208-680-4736. It's my cell phone. So, and of course we're online, we're on Facebook. You can Google us. We aren't just in Pocatello. The company was started out in Hammond, and we have most of our clients are up that direction. So you can get us just about anywhere. So
all throughout Southeast Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Okay, you guys, you heard them. You mentioned Pocatello Business Podcast, and you get a little extra bang for your buck with these guys. And Ben's one good dude. I can vouch for that. He's a nice dude that's going to treat you fair, and he's fun to be around. So give him a call. Go Ideacom. Whoops. And there's my VoIP. Call me right now. But thank you for joining us. Thanks for being on the show, Ben. And until next time, everyone, thank you.
Congratulations on spending a couple minutes getting just a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Pocatello business community. If you are feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.